Yeah, we'll touch more on Brentford in a bit, but just back to tonight and set pieces as well. Ray has been a weakness throughout the whole season, and once again a couple of times tonight. How do they crack that? Because it's not something that they've managed to get on top of for a long time.
Yeah, you've got to keep working at it, and you've got to make sure you're picking players up. You know, the game's changed. I get that. I see some of the smallest players picking up the tallest opposition, and sometimes looking, thinking, you know, that's a mismatch. You know, you've seen that with Virgil. Virgil got a couple of goals because there's a mismatch. Who's actually trying to win the ball from him, and it's happening at our end of the field as well. But if you looked at the Tielemans shot, which led to the Ollie Watkins goal, no one's picking them up on the edge of the box. You know, so the ball's came in, it's gone out to the edge of the box. No one's gone out there quickly enough to try and get a block in. And then the strike comes in, keeper's made a save, maybe could have done a little bit better, looked like he palmed it back into an area where it favoured one of the Aston Villa players. Torres was on it, another shot, he saved it, and Ollie Watkins puts it in. But you're looking around, where's the Liverpool defenders? Because Keyes has played them on side, there's no question there's any Villa player in an offside position. Keyes has played them on, but I'm looking at the other players and they're watching the play develop, keep them making the save, and they're all still standing there. No one's acted. It's all reactionary. I want to see our players acting on situations and not waiting for something to happen and then they're doing something afterwards. That's not how the game should be played.
I think the art of defending has gone, to be honest, and I'm a number 9, but you know, my dad was a centre half and he's constantly ringing me up after every game saying, you know, like he wants to go into academies and work with players now because the art of defending is gone with regards to, you know, we always used to have a saying is players score goals, space doesn't, you know, and you watch these players now and for me, I just find it bizarre, you know, with regards to, you know, how we defend now, and especially us as a team, and you know, how strong we are actually in the air with regards to Virgil and Konate's, but then it just seems so easy.
Also, in terms of that slip by Dom, you do need some luck sometimes, and it comes at a critical point when Liverpool have just got themselves level, and Rio previously just hit the post as well, Ray, and it seems a bit churlish to say now that it could have made a difference, but at that moment in the game, it was quite a key point for that to
there's
happen.
defining moments in football, Tash, I'll tell you. There's certain incidents that happen in the game that you say, oh, that could be a defining moment and change how this game goes. Rio hitting the post was that defining moment, because I think Villa were at that stage. If Liverpool went 2-1 up, I think it could have went the other way.
Totally
and when their heads were went right down, and because the fans at Villa Park, the home supporters, had gone very quiet and they started to go on the Villa players back at that stage. But then to go and do what we did, look, it's hard to say anything bad about Dom with the season that he's had. But for me, I don't want to see my centre midfield player running back there, you get the throw in. I don't know why he's went back there to get it. All you had to do is just stay in your position, let Milos throw the ball down the line or downfield, and you're okay. I understand you want to get on the ball, but there's areas I don't think you should be going into to try and get it, and that was one of them. Like you can't legislate for mistakes and when you fall over in the manner that he did. He doesn't mean to do it, but look what it's led to, because when Virgil watches it again, Virgil will look at it and say, I should have been looking at what happened, because he's anticipating. There's no one near him. He's fine. He's just going to turn and play the ball forward. So he's not even anticipating anything's going to go wrong. So he's actually moving forward in the knowledge in his head. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. But he's not seen the slip, because if he had, he would have been in a covering position to where Ollie Watkins was, and which led to the opportunity. So they're little things, but they're defining moments in the game. And you could tell when Villa went 2-1 up.
That's the thing, though, isn't it, where something like that happens, and we're speaking about fine margins, and in the end, the game, I suppose, Villa go on and dominate, but at that point, it's quite crucial. And I don't know, you kind of probably, as a player, psychologically, as Ray says, you almost see them deflate, and maybe you think in that moment, this just nothing's going for us at the moment.
Yeah, but I also think bigger picture, Ray made a great point earlier. As a centre forward, I always used to think the best. So I always used to think that the defender's going to miss the header or the goalie's going to spill it. You're always thinking the best. So as a defender, I think Ray said it earlier, you always have to think the worst. And I think that's been a problem with regards to Liverpool's season. I think too many times we're relying on just individuals to do their thing rather than actually having each other's back a little bit more. And I know we're talking about the slip, but the ultimate professional is always thinking, well, where should my covering position be? Even if Dom is there, for me, when Dom slips, we are way too spread, we're too open to allow that. So you always have to be thinking, because I know for a fact, and Ollie Watkins is thinking, Dom could slip here, and that's why he gets ahead and he gets the goal. So I think bigger picture, you know, you have to be better in those moments.
All the support to Dom though, because you could tell how devastated he was
player.
in that moment, and he has been the outstanding.
But you don't want to be critical, but you've got to be honest. You know, we're here to give our opinion what happened in the game, and we talked about moments that can change matches, and that certainly was one of them. But what I'd be looking at as well, Becky, is, you know, you've gone 2-1 down. You shouldn't be going that low that quickly with your confidence. You shouldn't be looking around going, oh, that's it, the game's over. You should have been, what I wanted to see was leaders then, people talking to each other, going, hey, okay, we made a mistake, but we're still in this. There's still plenty to play for. Let's get on the front foot. Let's get the ball in behind. Let's get Rio on the ball, because Matty Cash is on a yellow card. I'm thinking Matty Cash is on a yellow card. We should be getting the ball out with our left winger all the time to take him on, entice him into making a few challenges. You could just, because you could see with Matty Cash, he's backing off him. He doesn't want to engage.
Yeah,
Rio.
I was going to say it was a good battle between those two, and it felt like Rio was getting on top of him at times.
No, he was, and I just want to also credit Szoboszlai for his reaction, because we're talking about leaders, there wasn't enough, but he was one of those that was trying to run and hunt, and he did that all game, too often in my opinion, on his own, isolated. But going back to Rio as well, you know, there's a few times where I can see the players getting a bit frustrated with him when he takes shots on, but I love the fact that he's trying to make things happen, and actually this is his learning, you know, and he's trying to make something happen, whether it is going down the line, he's mixing it up, or whether he comes in field. I mean, he really has everything, and I mean the whip shot as well, he has that in his locker, and I mean the technique, you know, and inches away from making that happen, and like I said, every game he is the bright spark, so credit to him. I think not many can probably walk off the pitch today thinking, okay, I gave everything, but he absolutely can.
You just got, I just think when you've got to look at situations and say, right, where are they most vulnerable? And they were most vulnerable because Cash was on a yellow card. It's simple as that. So what you should be doing, this is how we used to play, then you see where the weakness is, and you keep getting the ball over to where the weakness, because that's where you're going to take advantage. And that's what we didn't do enough of. I would have been getting the ball over to the left-hand side all the time. And I would have said to Kirkish, you back him up. You just let Rio get on the ball and take him on. Keep encouraging him. Even if he loses it, don't worry. Keep encouraging him, because Cash might do something that gets him a second yellow, red card, and he's off. But that's what you've got to do. You've got to think about situations. You've got to think about where can you get the advantage in matches. And that's certainly what Liverpool should have been doing more of in that second half.
All right, you guys have worked very hard. We're going to take a break.
And Watkins scores. Watkins scores again to make it 3-1. McGinn makes it 4-1. And Virgil gets a consolation. Bad night for Liverpool. A lot still to do. Villa 4, Liverpool 2. Ray Houghton, final reflections. It's a game that got away from us in the second half, but we only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah, they've got to look at the individual mistakes that was made, and then the collective, and that is the lack of communication, not closing down well enough, not picking up players,